faith in you. They turn their backs on you. Man, I'm never going back. Man, I'm never going back. I put my faith in you. They turn their
What's up? What's up? This is your host, Rebel Ray.
And I am R. Collins.
And we're together. We are called Against All Odds Podcast.
Yes.
And today we have in the building the 19th child, Paul Hyder. Not Paul Hyder, no. Paul Hunter.
We know Paul Hyder.
We know Paul Hyder, though. Forgive me, Paul Hunter.
Yes.
But before we get into that, how was your day, bro?
My day was pretty good. It was, forgive us again for coming on just a little late. It was my fault. Yeah. Man, we got a lot going on, and we try to bring the show to you guys in a timely fashion. But life happens, okay? So, but yeah, my day has been pretty good. How about yours?
I'm being forgiving of my day, and I'm being gentle today. We did have a funeral today. So, it's been a lot of funerals, but we've been hanging in there close to each other and loving each other. And, when my friends and family call, I'm always trying to be there. Like, I have to show, especially if it's in my toolbox, right?
Yeah.
It's using those works that God gave you, those strengths that you're good at, and so it's there for the family today. I read the cards and acknowledgments, did the program, and, I did the announcements.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
You seem like you're always doing announcements.
Yeah, I'm always doing the announcements. I grabbed the mic, try to sing, though.
Well, I mean,
listen.
It is what it is.
Wait, but let me tell you what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, yes, and the repast will be here, so and so and so, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what came over me. I don't know if it was like the Clark sisters' spirits of this gospel, but I just knew I can hold a note.
I
grabbed the mic. No, but one of those like,
you just gotta stay in your lane. That's really
right. And church folks, we don't do that. We don't stay in the lane. Like, if you're good at the whole church announcements, you're not a singer, don't do it. So what? Rebel learned a lesson today. You want to know what my lesson was?
What was the lesson?
Don't do it. If it comes to your head, I grabbed the mic. I said, if anybody asks you where I'm going.
Hey, Nicole, you sang like that at my wedding. I remember that. You grabbed the mic. She was
stupid.
Nobody could take the mic from her. She was just going crazy.
Just acting stupid. Listen, why the bishop turned the mic off on me?
You still singing too.
You gotta really. I sure was still singing. Take it on, organist. Thank you. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Go ahead, take it. I did it. I did it today. Well, that's staying in your lane and knowing what you're good at.
At least you got the courage to do it.
Right. Staying. I don't know about the courage part. But listen, we're excited. We're excited. We're gonna bring our host on because you guys you didn't come to hear Rebel sing funeral Negro spirituals.
Old Negro spirituals.
Old Negro spirituals.
Oh.
So really, this author is, he came to us and he said, I had a magnificent story. And as we did our research,
his story is powerful.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. And we're going to take so many different segments of it today, break it on down, break his story down. Now, mind you, sometimes Black people, we inappropriate, even Latinos, and Polly's.
Mhm.
I love our people. But we are so inappropriate sometimes with how we handle a lot of drama and trauma in our, and a lot of us make light of it. My family, we're the comedians. Someone dies, we're talking about their hairline not being there anymore. I mean, we deal with so much in
Mhm.
that way. It's a coping mechanism.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their way to cope.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so when I had so many questions that came to me about me being my morbid comedian self. Like, how did this woman have 21
She's
children
that
by
lady.
one man, y'all? Come
Don't you
on.
know
Can some of
that
y'all baby
love is-
mamas see that? I'm just sharing. I'm
Man,
just sharing. By
listen,
one man.
I
I'm just
didn't
saying.
think it was a woman alive that was able to handle that, but y'all powerful. Y'all in this showing me how strong women really are.
Listen, we're going to get into that. We got so many details of
Mhm.
what's going to be happening. And you know what? We want this chat live. We want to welcome our author. We want all the questions for him. He said he is an open book. So we're going to take it to that. If he's an open book, you're
Mhm.
going to be able to ask your questions. I know Rebel had some questions. I had some questions I needed to know about. So please, let's light the chats up. Any questions you want to start asking him, we're going to start at the introduction of who he is, and
Mhm.
he's going to take it from there. So let's bring him on in.
Let's bring them on in.
Heart it up, everybody. Welcome, Paul. Heart it up, heart it up, heart it
How
up,
you
heart it
doing,
up.
Paul?
Paul, you are the author of
Hey,
Spit Your
thank you,
Title.
thank you.
Spit your title, please.
Yes,
Can you
and
hear us good, Paul?
yeah, the title. Yes, sir. I do hear you good. The title of my book is "No Love, No Charity: The Success of the 19th Child." Yes, I was listening
Hmm.
this week to you guys, and I heard the commentary. So I sat back and I laughed because people all over the world make jokes about my family. So I was just listening, and I thought it was very funny. But yes, my mother actually birthed 21 children by my dad. So, like I said, if you do the math, my mom stayed pregnant for 15 years and 9 months. So, she won more
Woo!
championship
And,
than
and that was straight,
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Michael Jordan.
man. You got my vote there. I'll tell you that.
And thank you for joining us. There is a time change that is forward in the evening, and you came here tonight to tell your story. We want to appreciate you.
Yeah.
And just dropping knowledge from the perspective of the 19th child. So let's get into some introductions here, right?
Yeah.
So introduce yourself. What motivated you start writing this book, right?
I think the motivation came from growing up in the inner city and learning that a lot of people in the inner city, where I grew up in Racine, Wisconsin, did not have hope, did not have determination, did not have a drive. And so I'm the opposite. I had drive, I had hope, I had determination. So I know if I can write the book, my story will impact the people's lives around the world. That's the reason why I wrote the book, because people in the inner city need hope, need determination, and they need a role model like me to inspire them to take their game spiritually, academically, and emotionally to the next level.
Hmm. Very interesting.
That's dope. So you had a deeper meaning. And you know what? This had to come from your healed self. I mean, if you think about it, like, in order to have these courageous conversations around your family and really be in the spotlight, it takes a lot. It has to come from a healed part. And I think your book really plays to that, that you're coming from a healed part in your life. And I want to touch on the healing aspect of some of the barriers once we get into that, if
Yes.
you don't mind.
Mhm.
So that's a blessing, right? And so tell us, what was it like growing up in a family of 21? Were you all up underneath the same roof? Did you get hand-me-downs? Did you feel
Yeah.
individualized? What did y'all have to work as a collective? Like, just Give us a life in a day in a life in
maybe start out at the dinner table, because I know
oh my God.
we spoke about that, but I mean,
Yeah.
just whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I tell you what, at the dinner table on Sunday, it was just like the movie Soul Food. My mom, my dad, my older siblings, they all got into the kitchen and they worked together to prepare the meal, the Sunday dinner. And that was a big tradition in the Hunter family. Wish that my mom and my dad was alive today, because that tradition will continue. But my mom is no longer here and my father is no longer here. But every Sunday, my mom and dad and my older siblings, like I said, would go in that kitchen and prepare that meal. And only two people would stay at home on Sunday, because after they prepared that meal, we had to rush to get to church. And so my mom and dad had two big old station wagons. Back then it was station wagons. So man, we used to all get in those two station wagons and head to church and worship God. And then after church, we would run back home and eat and sit around and watch football games, especially if the Packers was on. But it was a time of getting the family together, having constructive conversation, talking about life, talking about what they see in us and what they want us to become in life.
That's very interesting.
Yes, it is. And it talks to almost the ethical code of the family. Um, you think about 21 children and you think chaos. I mean, that's where my mind goes,
Yeah,
right?
you think chaotic.
But it sounded like you were harmonious. It sounded like everyone knew their role, even from the youngest. And that's talking from the youngest perspective, because you're the third youngest, right? Um, and so it's kind of
Yes.
it's almost like the expectations of maybe some people's biases are like startled by that, right? Because you guys had functionality. You had a mama and a daddy, and they all were
Yeah,
one by one.
Yeah, and that's one thing our listeners need to understand. Like the 21 kids that was brought forth in this world was brought forth by his mama and his daddy, all 21 of them.
And she started having babies at 16.
16 and a half. And let me say this, let me emphasize that my mom and my dad, they could not keep their hands off each other. So
Oh,
let's get it
That's
on.
hey man.
Let's get it on.
so we just
If you can look at them, they both had a high sex drive.
wow. Interesting, because we never want to talk about that piece about, mama and papa with someone over 10 kids, even 10 kids, y'all gotta like be loving on each other and sync sexually, mentally, physically. Y'all just love making. My thing comes into play, right? Is like, did mom think about birth control? Did she practice it, or was it religious factors that went around it?
Or did
I
and to
think
add on to that, or did she want that many kids? You know,
Yeah. Did
yeah,
she
pretty
want that
much.
many
Did she want that
kids?
many kids? Yeah.
well, my mother used to always say that God gave her this body and she wanted to have a lot of kids until God said that that's enough. So I guess God must have said 21 was enough.
Wow.
So that's when she stopped. So she had 21 children. She birthed 21 natural children. And let me say this: there's 17 of us living today, 63 grandchildren, and 87 great grandchildren. So
Oh, say that number from her room again.
a
That's
huge
what's
lineage there.
so say the numbers
Sheesh.
again. Very, very, because you're a little low on your end. So I want you to, you're talking clearly, but say those numbers again.
17 children living today, 63 grandchildren, and 87 great grandchildren.
My God. Y'all heart it up
So
for this woman.
I have a big family.
Ladies, heart it
Yes.
up for this woman right now. Heart it up for this woman. To not die. to not almost die and be in good health and bear those many children, right? To have your body transform over the years, not only still having children, but way up into pre-menopause having children. Y'all heard what I'm saying? She stopped at what age 45, 46?
45 was her last child.
45 was her
Wow,
last
she did.
child. Black woman, I know we out there, we like, we need a husband. Some of us don't have babies right now. We say we want to do it the right way. Guess what? God will, if the fruit is for you in your womb, He will give you that. That's a blessing.
That is. We
So,
have
yeah.
a question from somebody in the
Liana
chat.
Georges, shout out to Liana. Shout
Go
out
ahead.
to
Did you want to read
Liana.
that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
What did he learn from his mom and dad in regards to work ethics, love, and the importance of family? What did he learn?
Well, I tell you what, I learned that love must persevere through all adversity. My dad was very compassionate. My mom was totally the opposite. So I learned to be very compassionate toward men and also toward women. And coming from a big family, let me say this: there's going to be functional moments, and it's going to be dysfunctional moments in a big family. So we're totally not different from a family of one child or a family of two or three or four um, children in the household. But I learned a lot from my mom, and I also learned a lot from my dad. My dad constantly worked. My dad worked two jobs, so he was working 16 hours a day. My dad was a provider. I'm talking about he was grinding every day. But on the
Man,
he was
had to.
he
He
made
had to grind.
he he he
Yes.
he made sure that he was in the home and participating, making sure that we play kickball, making sure that we do our
What?
homework, making sure that we were out there playing basketball and football. So my dad was there on the weekends, but during the weekdays, he had to provide for the Hunter family.
Wow, that's
Wow.
powerful.
Wow. And so most men would, have some concern about the financial stress that can cause from, feeding 23 mouths,
Hmm.
because he had to look after you all and look after his wife
Yeah.
and himself.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
what was it that your dad did? Did he what like did he have his own business
He worked.
or?
He worked. He worked for. No, my dad worked for Bale City in the factory, and he also worked for Case. He used to make tractors for Case in the
Wow.
city in Wisconsin. So my dad was
Interesting.
extremely hard worker. He was a very hard worker, and my mom worked a part time job. But we had experienced a lot of difficulties growing up, and the community in the city of Racine, Wisconsin, when we were down, the community in the city of Racine, Wisconsin, always provide for the Hunter family. We never lacked
Wow.
anything, and if we did lack anything, word would get out on the streets, and people in the community made sure that we didn't go hungry. They would sometimes they would knock on the door unexpectedly and leave gifts and food and toys and
Wow.
hand me down clothes
And
for
you are a product of that love.
us out tremendously.
Yeah. And so, I
Yes.
often hear people say that type of collective giving and collective loving and community love, right? Um, begets this whole, what people think is, a Marxism that we have of just giving things out to people who continually have kids that strain the system. I hear all these biases. Your family has knocked these biases in the ballpark, even about the Black family unit. It can
Hmm.
be stable with the right type of love,
Yeah,
ethical and moral character, integrity,
man.
right? You are a living proof that that can happen. And you're breaking down all the biases right now. And I hope some of my colleagues are listening, because sometimes it's hard to put a face to that. and really deny some of the racist and implicit biases we sometimes come up against.
Shoot, I hope some of the deadbeat dads are listening because your dad had a balance. It seemed like he worked throughout the week.
Yes.
Then on the weekends, he went and spent time with y'all. And that's 21.
21.
21, well, let's say what, 19, 21, because I think two of them passed.
So yeah,
let's
we're
say
going to talk about that, yeah.
Actively, not about 19 to 17 kids, your dad had a balance for. Some dads, some of us, we can't balance one child, let alone 2, 3,
and
4.
the wife, and keep the wife happy.
Man, that's powerful.
That's big. Now, tell us about your mother. So, we hear about your father, him being hardworking and everything. But I have sheroes, and your mom would have been one of my sheroes growing up, like being domesticated, but also being there for her children, but also being able to balance out her husband, because some of us can't do that. We're still needing help in that area. How did she do it? How did she do it while always being pregnant?
I think that my parents was a team from day one when they laid eyes on each other. I think they were a team from day one. My mom and dad, they interacted extremely, extremely well. And let me say this: my mom is the first woman to birth 21 children and also start a homeless shelter in the state of Wisconsin. She started the first homeless shelter in the state of Wisconsin. Wow.
It up, y'all.
21 children.
That's amazing.
I have to applaud her for being the first to
amazing.
Achieve success in the Hunter family.
That is amazing.
So mama, the matriarch of the family,
1970.
Yes.
Yes. And when she started the shelter in 1970, I was in her womb at that particular time.
Wow.
That's a blessing. So she was already manifesting and putting things and praying over her children, speaking good things over them. So, of all the victorious triumphs, there comes a time when what we talked about weathering the storm last week, right? You were briefly on here. So let's talk about some of the storms of the Hunter family. The very first storm that hit the family unit that caused a little destruction.
I think the first storm that happened was in 1976 when there was a fire in the Hunter family house. But let me go back to this house. My mother was pregnant with the 14th child. My mother and my father was living in a 2-bedroom house. So the sheriff came in the middle of the wintertime and told them that they would have 72 hours to get out of this house. And because there were too many people living in the home. Mother went to church and prayed. The next day, a man showed up, knocked on the door, took my mother and father to go look at an 18-bedroom house.
What?
My mom, he gave my mom and dad this 18-bedroom house just for $1. And my mom and dad at that particular time did not have the money. So this man digged in his wallet and he gave my mom the $1, and my mom paid him $1 for the 18-bedroom house. And so
in the name of Jesus, hold that.
So
hold that right there, brother. Powerful. If I can get up and start shouting right now, I'll do a praise break.
Man.
Listen to me. When your heart is right, he'll send a ram in the bush. If your heart is right, he sent a ram. He sent a ram truck.
A ram truck,
a big body that's 7,500. Like B12. Boom, boom. Let's go. Woo! Wow. So finish telling us about this house. This is so dope. This is like a dope story.
It is.
So yeah, I was born in that house. And years later, probably about 7 to 8 years later, the house was engulfed in flames. And so my older brother, Michael, he had to try to get all of us out, but he couldn't get Thomas and myself out because fire was consuming everywhere. And so the firemen, 2 firemen came into the second story, and they had said to he said to the other firemen that we got to get them out of here, or we're gonna die along with them. And so he was giving me oxygen, and he was trying to revive my brother, and he said that I don't think he's going to make it. I don't think he's going to make it. So we went down the steps, and as we got down the steps, fire was just everywhere. So my mom is so old-fashioned. You know, she's very old-fashioned. So my mom had a garbage container. She had 2 garbage containers. One was filled up with flour, and the other one was filled up with sugar. So he took that lid off, and he took that sugar, and he poured it out, and he placed my brother in there, and he placed me up in there, and he closed the lid, and he ran right through the fire, and that's how my brother came out and I came out. But days later, my brother had died, and so that affected me as a child. And a year later, my father passed away. So those 2 tragedies rocked the Hunter family lives, and it really devastated us that we had to go and get help. But thank God for pastors. Thank God for people in the community. Thank God for psychologists, that was coming in and making sure that we get the therapy that we need to get over these 2 adversities.
My God, not only were those adversities, those were moments of trial. Like you were pushed to the test. You have Bountiful, you have Harmony, and then here comes this tragedy.
And real quick, before we go any further, do you have any devices on that the volume is up on in your area? If you do, just cut them down if you do.
No, I do not.
Okay, because we're getting some feedback.
We're just getting a feed. We're getting a feed from someone following along. Yeah, that someone's following along on the feed, the live feed.
But
There's so many people commenting. You're blessing so many with your story. Panamanian Peach, shout out to Panamanian Peach. I would love it if I can have 10. I would laugh out loud for real. Netta Collins said, wow, favor of God, the blessings of being awesome parents. When you take of God's children, he always looks out. And Grace Montez, shout out. God is good all the time. God is good all the time. Shout out to Janae Butler, our boy Jefferson Pip Strickland in the building. We praying for you, Pip. Speedy recovery over everything. Pray for you always. And so going back to this amazing story of you being able to be a survivor, and then have to be in the same trash can with your brother as he's dying. It is poetic. It is Shakespearean. The tragedy that finds Harmony that we often see. And so this magnificent story, right, could be purchased. But what is the plans for these magnificent stories that have been brought to you through this book, The 19th Child? Tell us what's happening next.
Well, what's going on right now? I just signed a deal with Tailflix, which is going to partner with different production companies to get the movie completed. So I'm excited about that, and it's going to be authentic, and it's going to make people laugh, and it's also going to make people cry. And I advise people right now to go out and purchase the book, No Love, No Charity: The Success of the 19th Child. If they want an autographed copy of the book, they must go to my website, paullamarhunter.com, but I'm excited about 2021 and 2022 because doors are opening up. I did a talk show, but I cannot talk about it because I signed a contract. And but I will be coming 2022 on this new talk show on Fox. I can tell you that. And so
That's what's up.
I'm excited about that.
Oh, kudos to you.
Yes, definitely.
Being able to have your own narrative, right? That's power. To be able to write your own history and tell your history and not let anybody tell it for you, right?
Right.
Your mother's book was told through the eyes of someone that helped her. But your book, which kind of follows and supports your mother's book, um, really shows from your perspective the 19 child. Now, let's get into why education plays such a large role in your success.
Well, you got to understand that my mother grew up in the South. Mother and father grew up in the South, Vicksburg, Mississippi. Um, and they never had the opportunity to attend high school or college. So when I did the research on my family lineage, I discovered that no one on my father's side or my mother's side never graduated from college or never attempted to attend college. So I said to myself, I can be the first to lay the foundation. I can be the first to graduate college and be the first author in the family. So when the opportunity came, because I was working at Chrysler engine plant, making good money, $28.50 an hour. I was making pretty good money, but when they closed, I was like, okay, I can go back to college and get my degree and be the first to graduate from college and be the first author in the family. And I just surrounded myself with positive men and women that really shaped me.
Yes.
And so in
I believe that.
2012, I became the first to graduate from college. Now I became the first.
Congratulations.
A lot of my nieces and nephews, went to college and graduated as well. So when you come from a big family, somebody has to lay the foundation.
Yeah.
But just because mom didn't do it, I could do it. And so
Yeah.
I was able to look at the past and see my future graduating from college. So
Yes.
I'm delighted that I am number one.
Yes. And so you're a trendsetter, right? You're that fearless leader that we thought would come, right? And it takes so much to kind of transcend, to kind of grow out of the ideologies or even some of the belief systems that once was held by former family members that came before you and actually do it yourself. That's big just by itself. It takes a lot of courage.
It does. It really does.
Takes a lot of faith.
A lot of faith. A lot of faith. Mm-hmm. So tell us about your personal life. You married, you got kids. How's that?
Yeah, and how is the oldest? Like, I want to know about the oldest because I know those three oldest. After you tell us, I believe they were taking care of kids, right? Because that's how it kind of goes, right? So, how many kids they got? I want to know about that.
Well, my older sister, she is 70 years old, and I am 50 years old. So there's 20 years apart. And so when it comes to the 21st child and the 20th child and the 19th child, all of my siblings will tell you that they do not mess with those last three babies because they say that we are crazy. But we're not crazy. We just don't take any crap from them anymore.
Okay.
Remember how they used to spank us, and make us do chores around the house, and they used to discipline us. And so we just remember that. And so we want to get back at them. And but my baby sister, she passed away at the age of 46 years old in January of this year of COVID. So we've been dealing with that as well, and we're trying to get over that and move forward. But
Well, condolences to you,
older
your family.
siblings, a lot of my older siblings have children that are older than me. So let me say that older siblings have kids that's older than me, and it was strange because I asked them the question, "How was it when you were pregnant, and also my mom was pregnant? How was that relationship in the house?" And then my older sister would say it was chaos, because you got 2 to 3 pregnant women in the home. You understand?
Woo!
Oh my goodness.
So out of how many girls was it and how many boys?
There's 11 girls and my mom birthed 10 boys.
Woo!
Yeah, so what we have is we have a basketball team. We have our starting 5, we have a bench. So
you do. You got a men's and women's basketball team. Hey, starting 5 and the bench.
Yes, and we have a soccer team.
Yeah. Wow.
Man, that's crazy.
So let me ask you this. Like, did you guys ever have to deal with like bullies, and how did you all handle, those kinds of people?
Oh,
we handle bullies.
Look. We handle bullies. At a real proper life.
I remember a time in high school
Right?
that my baby sister got into a physical altercation, and I was literally in class, but I heard about it because somebody came into the room and said, "Your baby sister is down there fighting." And next minute I know all of my other siblings and cousins and nieces.
Look, you see his hands, y'all. He with the business, like we with the business. Hunter PG, let's go.
We had to bring the heat. If you fight one, you gotta fight all.
Y'all coming out the bushes, coming around the corners, coming out the bathrooms, coming out the cafeteria. Like, yo.
Man, I would hate to be on the wrong side of that one.
Woo, we had some families like that. They were really big. And you just didn't want to get in trouble with. I ain't gonna say the names, but they was up to like 13, 15, and 16, I think. Those surnames here.
Yeah, you don't really like, well, my grandmother's mom had like 13 kids.
Right.
But that's back then. You hear about stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like way back in the day. You know what I mean? Not like 70s, 80s, 90s, something like that. You know what I mean?
Woo, that is crazy. And like the whole city came behind them. Like that was so dope.
That's powerful. You know what I mean? Because that's got to be very difficult. I mean, because I know for a fact that unless your dad was and your mom had, these really, really high paying jobs that could support 21 kids, you dang near got to be a millionaire.
And he encouraged all of you all to play sports. So, did you all take up certain hobbies? Tell us a little bit about what.
You got any football players, basketball players?
Any musicians? Anybody playing anything, doing anything?
Yeah, a lot of my brothers played basketball, and also we played instruments, drums, guitar, bass. I played the guitar. Also, I played the drums, and also I played the piano. But I wasn't a good basketball player, but I am a good basketball coach because having 4 children, 2 girls and 2 boys, and also I have a granddaughter now. I can't wait till she turns 5 years old. I'll be able to coach her as well. But I like coaching basketball, and something that I did with all of my kids, and taking inner city kids and coaching them in basketball and giving them structure, giving them discipline, giving them guidance, and now seeing them develop into young men and become teachers and principals and professors and engineers. And you sit back and say, this is part of your success. This is what you do. You back to the community. And those young men and women, give you a call or email you and say, all because of what you had said, you gave me hope And I appreciate that to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you had to read an excerpt from your book, I don't know if you have your book or you have one memorized. Drop us what an expectation, a good quote from your book will sound like. Do you have one?
I think the best quote that I had gave in my book was to never give up. We come
Mm-hmm.
adversity. We came from Vicksburg, Mississippi. Part of my mom lineage, and my mom did not have a vision. She did not have hope, just like my father. But I wanted to have give them hope. Have vision not only for me but all my other siblings. To say, what, if Paul Lamar Hunter can do it, my baby brother, the 19 child, can do it. What, we can do it as well. And some of my sisters took the initiative to go back to school and get their high school diploma.
What a blessing.
And I applaud them for that. But the best quote in my book is never give up. Never give up. I've been down a lot of times. And let me say this. A lot of people, when I told people that I was going to be profiled in Ebony magazine, when I told people that I was going to be on the front cover of Breakaway International Daily magazine, they looked at me like I was crazy. I told them that I was going to be on Vivica A. Fox show, Face the Truth, that I was going to beat Dr. Phil. They looked at me like I was crazy. But when you come from the inner city, there's only one direction you can go. That's up.
Yeah, come on.
That's up. And you did not wallow. You didn't self-loathe about what you didn't have. You took what you could and what you had, and you made it work for you. And now it is paving ways for you to connect in such a way and tell this story, and be the messenger for the family, the good messenger. And a lot of times I think it takes back for me, right? Therapeutically, I always wonder, the youngest child being somewhat of this child of that many people in a unit, the youngest child seems like they're lost. How did you find your own path and not live in the shadows, develop your own personality, look for acknowledgement? Because you got to think, you're looking for some type of acknowledgement when you're that young in a family size of 21.
Yeah, it's hard to give some acknowledgement to each and every child. How
So
did that work out?
how did you survive that? Yeah.
I think I survived it by interacting with the men and women that were coming into my mom homeless shelter. And I always look at other people's failures and mistakes in their journey and say, I cannot go on that road. For example, I remember that at my mom's shelter, my mom used to tell us as teenagers that we had to go and sit into the AA meetings, and inside the AA meeting there was a circle of men and women, and they used to always talk about their addiction, and it really shaped me to say, I can't do drugs, I can't drink, I have to take care of myself. And it really motivated me to really want to go out and succeed. A lot of my brothers and sisters, some of them, yes, they did use drugs, they did drink, but now that they're older now, they had to recover from that. Me, I learned from their mistakes, and that's the reason why I was able to create a path of success for myself. Talking to teachers, talking to mentors, talking to pastors, talking to friends, and just learning what to do and learning what not to do. That's what really
very smart.
In a tremendous.
So how does it play in with because there's 21 kids and your mom and dad can't get to each and every child, with hugging them or spending time with them. How did that work? And
what did love look like in the house?
What did love look like?
But like I said, on the weekends, my dad was there, so it was great. But I got a lot of hugs from my sisters, my brothers. I got a lot of hugs from them. My brothers was very instrumental in my life. You know, especially the older ones. They was very instrumental, even though they was hard on us and spanked us at times. I didn't like it, you know, but you know they did the best that they could, and so a lot of my hugs came from my dad, from my older siblings, and sometime once in a while from my mom. But you know, I give a lot of credit to my older siblings because they were the ones that sometimes had to forego their education. So I thank them and I give them a lot of credit. And I talk about my siblings in my book in chapter 2 because they don't know that they played an instrumental role in cultivating my attitude.
Yes. So I have a question for you. And everyone's hearting it up. They love that whole perspective that you have. Thank you for sharing that. So I'm a cook. I know I don't look like I can get down,
She can get
Paul.
down.
I can get down. Let's go. I love
Mhm.
food. That's the problem with this belly now. Praise the Lord. Can get it down. But I want to know, as a cook, your mama was preparing a small luncheon banquet because I do banquets, a luncheon banquet
Every day.
every day. I'm pretty sure you guys didn't go to the drive-in when they had it back then. You guys didn't eat out as much. So, what was her grocery bill looking like? Like, how did she did what food was it? Like so many questions at one time. Was it rice? Was it spaghetti? Was it chicken? Did y'all have a cow out in the back? Like, how many gallons of milk did you guys go through?
And
I want to know all of these things because
I
kids,
like it.
they're hungry all the time. They will
All the
eat you
time.
out of house and home. So I'm just like trying to do the math. Like, dang, what is that? That's like what, $1,500 in groceries back then? I don't know.
I tell you what, I could tell you this that refrigerator was full when my dad was working, and we had about 7 to 8 gallons of milk. My mother, very old fashioned, she used to go there and buy those big old pounds of rice and beans and my mother loved cornbread, she loved candy yam, she loved ham, she loved pork chops, she loved steak,
Ooh,
loved
oh,
chicken and and
Mm.
and and ham hocks. And my mother, she kind of got mad at me because I didn't like chitlins, but my mother loved with hot sauce, and she used
Mm.
that chitlin with hot sauce. Boy, you better eat it or you're gonna starve.
I heard that. We ain't got food to be wasted.
My mother was a very good, yeah. My mother was a very good cook, and I love my mom homemade biscuits because she used to make those homemade.
Man, that sounds good right about
oh
now.
man, can
Man, you
anybody
can't
open
be
up for some soul
can't be
food
doing
right
us like
now?
that,
Oh
bro.
my
I
God.
love biscuits.
Yes, Lord,
Mm.
with some butter
Yes,
and some
Some
honey. Yeah,
butter, honey, and all of
butter and honey.
that.
Okay, so you went through so 7, 8 gallons a month. A month?
yeah.
Wow, so it was a lot of eating and she never complained.
It was a lot of eating.
So who helped her in the kitchen? Did
She
any of her
complained,
boys
let me
help her
know
in the
about it.
kitchen?
Yeah, she had my older brothers was in there. My older brother was in there. They used to rotate. It was like first shift, second shift. It was a schedule. My mother had a schedule. My mother father had a schedule. Yes.
So you had
Smart.
to have a schedule with a little tribe like that, right? You had to be sufficient, and you couldn't be a lazy person on welfare, right? Biases again that people have of large families. You can be a fruitful, multiply, and harmonious. I really believe
I
that.
believe that. I believe that too. I mean,
Mhm.
um, there was something that I wanted to ask you. I lost my train of thought,
Hmm.
and I hate when that
You
happens.
had asked me the question if I was married or had a relationship. I remember that. So
Yeah, we want you to touch
my
on that.
relationship status right now is it's complicated right now, but I am in love with someone.
Okay.
What does that mean? What does complicated mean?
But I do. I really do. I really. It's kind of it's complicated. It's complex, and I really do love this woman. And things will work out. I'm very confident that things will work out. You know, things will work out. Yeah.
So you tend to find individuals that you're attracted to with the same values that you guys had growing up? Or you are just someone that's out of the box, I'll date whoever.
No, I like someone that has the same background as me because we have a lot in common.
Yeah.
Um, and we enjoy each other. We have a good time.
Yeah.
And I really do like the person very much because her background is similar to my background,
Okay.
um, and 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 we are going in the right direction. You
All
understand?
right.
That's good.
Okay.
So how does Mother's Day and Father's Day look each year when all the kids get together and want to do something for mom or our dad? How does that look?
But my mom, all she wants is money, money. And for
Spoken like a true
I'm,
queen.
Man,
I'm telling you, yeah, all my mom wants is money. She'll tell you, don't give me no car, just give me the money. That's the
Give
way.
me the money. I don't need
Yeah,
no car. No reds, roses.
my dad, he'll yeah, my dad is totally different. Give me some cologne. Um,
Oh,
give me a car.
thoughtful. Yeah.
I'm content.
Thoughtful gifts. Oh, that's nice.
so did each one of you would each one of you do something for your parents, or did you all like did you have like a representative for you all that gave one big gift, or how did that work? Did you give multiple gifts or one big gift?
we we gave mom multiple gifts. She would say, "Give me money," and everybody. Okay, this is what she would usually say. I want $50 from each of my kids,
Oh
and everybody
Ooh.
$50.
man, I wonder what that looks
That's
like
it.
a
She
month.
That's what she
did.
would
She
say.
was getting, yeah. She's like, no, y'all break me off childbirth for each of them years. Look,
Mhm.
how many
I need to
hours?
get paid.
How many
I ain't even mad at
hours?
mom.
You ever did the math to see how many hours she was like in childbirth? Like, I don't want to take that for granted. Childbirth and giving birth, right? Rest in peace to my grandmothers. Both of them on my maternal and paternal side did not survive childbirth issues, right? Often we're
Mm-hmm.
seeing black mamas, right? And so I did not grow up knowing my maternal and paternal biological grandmothers. And to really just have a mom to have all these stories and raise her children in a good way, and be able to talk to her grandchildren, that's big. So I'm just like, your mom is like a shero. I'm just like, all the women on here too, they all agree, just her ability to maintain uh synergy after having all those
How do you
children.
keep your sanity with a bunch of
Thank
babies running
you.
around? Wine bottles? Do you need a bottle? You
Yeah.
need a bottle.
You have at least
I'm
four. You
hungry.
have at least
You
4 or 5 in Pampers at one time, right? Isn't like 4 or 5 in
yeah,
Pampers at one
it
time?
gotta be
That's a
something like that.
lot. That's a lot. One baby's teething, the other one is.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And so as you're listening to all of this, what is the one thing that you want people to take away from your story?
Oh, well, I think the one thing that I want people to take away from my story is that you can't keep a good man down. No matter
Mm,
degree from which you come or path that you have walked, always believe in yourself.
Mm,
Russell Wilson, he's a quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. I don't
yeah.
know because I'm a 49ers fan, but
Yeah.
that his father had questioned whether he could excel to greatness. And his father said, why not? That's what you can learn from my story. No matter what disadvantage we face, why not? Think big, speak big, dream big, and never give up.
Thank you. That's beautiful. And we want to, again, appreciate you for taking the time to come on Against All
Yes.
Odds. Drop all your information right now if you can. And also in the chat one more time for our listeners that just queued in.
Well, hey, you can go to my website, paullamarhunter.com. Please go out and purchase the book, No Love, No Charity, The Success of the 19th Child.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Very
you have
powerful.
blessed us today.
Definitely.
Even in your modesty and your spirit is very
Mhm.
humble and very loving. And that's a true testament to
Mhm.
how you were reared.
Definitely.
So we want to uplift that and acknowledge that.
Thank you, and thank your mother. You know what I mean?
Always.
Man,
Yes.
that's it's such an amazing story. Your father, how hard he worked, you know, and how he was there for you guys, and you know, to all you deadbeat dads, man, you got a man who took care of 21 kids. Y'all can't take care of 1, 2 kids. Some of y'all ought to be ashamed of yourself. You know, there ain't no excuses in my book. You know what I mean? Like, but that's just powerful. Thank you so much, Paul. We really appreciate you. We really thank you. Any last words you want to tell to our audience?
Like I said, I just want the audience to go out and get the book, because this book is a game changer. If you are a parent, please go out and get the book, No Charity, The Success of the 19th Child. And I want to let your listeners know that I am available for speaking engagement. Yes, come to your city, your town, and speak life into your life. So please go to my website, paullamarhunter.com. I'm on social media under Paul Lamar Hunter. That's my name, Paul Lamar Hunter.
Thank you. We felt that in spirit. And so success to you, my brother. And thank you again for coming on Against All Odds.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bless you.
You know, that's the type of work Against All Odds do.
Yeah, definitely.
We bring you some amazing stories.
Amazing.
Amazing people.
Yeah.
And, you know, really Creator has really been sending. God himself has been being played. People have been placed in our past so we can connect.
Yeah.
And we can talk about what it means to be against all odds.
Yes, definitely.
Paul had a lot of odds.
He had a lot of odds.
20 in front of him. What are the 18 in front of him?
Oh, well.
He had 18. I mean, you had to even come through all of that personality.
Yeah, you did.
And not get lost in whose sock is this? You know your name. Come here, Billy.
How do you get
Billy
to know
Burness.
Right?
You know your name. Get over here.
How do you connect with each and every sibling, your parents? Like it must have been like a, you know, like, I don't know, like a couple minutes out the day they connect with each one. Hey, how you doing? You doing good today? You doing good at school? All right, next. Hey, how you doing today? You doing good to school?
That's how love survives, though. Right? Y'all go on ahead. How you doing? Okay, you got we'll work on that. Great. Goodbye. You know, just go down the assembly line. That is dope. 21, y'all. Listen.
Would you have 10 kids?
Listen, no. I used to want 4. This last pregnancy had me like, see, when y'all man be like, I love my wife, and you can have as many kids as she want, like, as long as y'all there after the birth, it's no joke being in childbirth. I had one naturally and I had one by cesarean, and I don't care how you carried your baby, it hurts. So I always, when I see mamas with large families, I always give them the shout out. Do you need some milk? Can I bring, what can I, it's real.
It is.
I've had help and I only got 2. Okay. It takes a village, like Art Collins' wife, Netta Collins. Shout out to my sister. I was her Otis. She swear that I just beat her, and it just was mean to her all. We had Chronicles. One day we're gonna have to come on and talk about the Chronicles, y'all. We had some fun times at the Thompson house. We had a lot of fun. She said I was a bully. Listen, I had issues, but the Lord changed me. Hallelujah.
But Grace Montez, which is my auntie Gracie, how you doing? She said that you can, God won't never give you too much that you can handle. Give it to me. They don't know. They don't know. All right.
Y'all don't know. One day, I'm gonna tell y'all that inside joke. He could not finish his sentence, and I saw it. I'm just gonna say it. Y'all, we in the studio. We goofy, stupid. Our Collins don't do flies. He does not do flies. One of the flies just got on the laptop. He couldn't finish his sentence. Don't you tear up the mic trying to get it.
You don't want to go nowhere. He's got to go. Oh, I got him too.
You got him and smashed.
Hey, can we get some help, please? Oh,
he don't do flies, y'all. I'm telling you, you can see everything on live. I can't even hide my face anymore when there's a catastrophe brewing. My eyes tell me.
They would have never knew there was a fly in the studio.
No,
okay?
no. The way you
I tried to do it secretly.
You started panicking your head.
Hey, he didn't want to leave. He acted like he wanted to die too. I don't know.
His head started shaking like, give me that. No, but
yeah, I just feel real jittery around those things.
I can't.
There's something about those things.
Let me tell you a story before we go. I had an ex-boyfriend. I thought he was fly, y'all, a little rapper. You feel me? I don't know what I like. I like rappers. Anyway. Did you know he bashed his whole car? He called me. He for whatever reason, when he went to go swat, he said the fly landed like right there by his nose, by his eye. He said he swung, but when he swung, he slammed his car into the cement divider.
Was he okay, first of all?
No, he was scratched up. He called me from the hospital. He made it. He didn't die. He said, babe, you never... I said, what's going on, Jesus? Do I need to come down here? We need to pray. What's going on?
Oh,
he like, goodness. I wrecked the car. I said, you wrecked the car because of why? He like, there was a fly.
I don't blame him, but I ain't gonna wreck. But man,
he wrecked his whole car. When I say he wrecked his car, it bounced off the cement divider because he was over. He was swatting at the fly. You know how you panic?
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't like insects and stuff. So he said, ah! He said he did like that, but the car was still in his hand. So he said, bang!
Dang, you almost got me. Knock me out on the show.
The cement divider. Listen, men can tear up stuff over insects too, ladies. Well,
all right, listen.
He one of them.
Listen, I was at the gas station and a little fly came in the car. Now, be careful at them gas stations because they be having them garbage cans right there. And them flies love to go into car windows at the gas stations.
I can't.
Hey, I'm giving y'all too much game. You got to keep your windows rolled up at the gas station, okay?
Woo! Paul Hunter on Against All Lies. He was the 19th child of 21. Thank y'all for tuning in every week. We goofy. But it's good. You got to smile sometime through the pain.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
And this is Against All Odds, and we out.
We out. Hey, man, we love y'all. Oh, real quick, like, comment, subscribe, hit that little bell.
Boom,
please.
boom.
Please hit that little bell so y'all don't have to be alerted because sometimes we be on Black people time. It don't be our fault.
Listen.
You know, sometimes it is my fault. You know what I mean? Got a lot going on, more than y'all know. So, love y'all.